Also, I wanted to announce that Dorothy Kompinski has been putting together different things on the peace clock that Bashar had suggested some time ago, so she can give you any information about that.
I'm sure that there will be a number of people in that situation that may not be aware of the peace clock, although Basharites are pretty well familiar with it. I wanted to let you know that it is in 7 languages, translated and printed in 7 other languages besides English at this time. I've committed myself and my financial budget to get this thing out and distributed. I'm also open to accepting any help, gratefully, that anyone feels moved to do something about distributing them, sending them out. I will give my telephone number out, and I'll be out here. I'm pretty obvious here in green, so you can find me here. We have, just for your information, we have it in Hebrew, Farsi, French, Spanish, German, Italian, and Russian, right. And I'm sure some of you must know someone in some of those countries, and if you want to get in contact with me, I'd be happy to provide the masters for it, and you can send them out and encourage other people under your own letter or whatever to get this thing moving. I'm stumbling right now trying to find the typesetter for the Arabic version. You know what I'd like to do with the Arabic version. So I am here and would be delighted to accept any offer of help as far as distribution or talking about it or getting the message out there. Thank you.
Thanks, Dorothy. One thing I'd also like to remind people who are not familiar with that, what it is basically is a meditation done at a specific time of day for peace worldwide, creating a kind of a synergistic effect around the world when it's synchronized properly. And just so you know, and especially for the people that are not familiar with the Bashar sessions, there is no connection per se being made to the Bashar sessions about the peace clock. We want peace clock to sort of be free of any particular kind of belief other than a belief in peace. So you don't have to necessarily, in other words, talk about Bashar to talk about or promote the peace clock. It stands on its own as an endeavor, and it's just for the purpose of promoting peace. Another thing that we have that Bashar has done specifically for the Middle East situation, there is a 1-page statement from Bashar that will be available for whoever wants copies. It's not available right now. It'll be available at the end of the session. Copies will be made during the session. And you can take one of these if you want. And if you would try to send it to someone that you believe could possibly get it to the Middle East, or try to send it to the Middle East directly, whatever route that you might have access to, whoever you might know that might be capable of delivering the message directly to the Middle East, by all means take it and do so. Make copies for yourself if you would. Now, the way that it's being done, and you can do this any way you want. You don't have to do it like this. You can just make copies, send it however you want. You can write it up as artwork, do whatever style you want to send it in is up to you. The way that Bashar suggested that the initial one be sent, and this is what we're going to do with this information, is it's going to be printed up both in English and in Arabic on a metal plate, and it will be gold-plated and sent that way. He seems to feel that there's some particular impact that will have. So it is basically a statement about the idea of one's relationship to creation. You can read it at the end of the session. It will be available on the table back there where you signed your name for questions. So by all means, please take that and help us inspire that we can have a peaceful solution to what's going on. Also, if you would be very appreciative if you would take some of the flyers about the sessions and spread those out to people that you might think would be interested in coming to the February or the March sessions or beyond that. And that would be of great help as well. When your name is called, if you want, she'll call a certain number. You can come up and sit in the chairs that are reserved up there, because one at a time you'll be coming up to this microphone so we can make sure we get everyone loudly and clearly on tape. And if you would like a tape of today's session or any of the sessions that have been done over the last 7 years, Steve Myers in the back of the room will be more than willing to help you with that. He's standing at the door back there, so you can see him for any tapes that you may want of any of the sessions. A final thing I would just like to remind everyone, how many people here are new for the first time to a Bashar session? Okay. Thank you very much for coming. What I do want to remind you again, old and new alike, is that there is absolutely nothing in this session that in any way insists that you must believe Bashar is who he says he is. The whole point of this is that the information seems to be a benefit to people, so the focus is on the information, not who's delivering it. If you find that the information works for you in your life, then by all means, please use it. If you find that some other system works better for you, then that's really what you ought to be using, because that's what you're all about, is making those choices for yourself. And that's really what this whole session is all about. When you do come up and ask a question, if you get chosen, I would like to ask to remember to keep it focused to one question, because it's very rare, just because of some of the complexity of the issues that are discussed. Sometimes it's very rare that we even get through 10 or 15 questions in a session, even though it's 3 hours long. So everyone can learn from all the answers that are given, from all the dialogues that are given. Don't feel that nothing relates to you or something might not relate to you. If you're here today, you're here for a reason, and everything that's going to be said probably will apply to you somehow, or you probably would have not been here. But I would like to ask you to keep it focused to one primary issue so that we can get as many people as possible through the question and answer process. Bottom line, again, is to really have fun, have a good time. Thank you very much for coming today. There will be a break halfway through. And when your name is called, if you're, again, unfamiliar with the process, Bashar, when he comes through, will speak about something. I don't know what. I never know what. He'll speak about something for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then he'll open it up to what he calls sharing. That's his cue for the first questioner to come up to the mic and ask a question. So it's very informal. Don't have to be nervous about it. It usually goes very smoothly. And now Erica can call the names, and you can take a seat, at least maybe the first 6.
Number 1 is Magic Marino. Number 2 is Terry Dinkovich. 3, Jordan Kaczynski. 4, Charles Perez. 5, Donna Howard. 6, Dagmar Schmidt. 7, Elizabeth Golson. I wasn't sure if it was on the last name. 8, Nicole. I hope it's not more than Nicole. 9, Stephen Cannon. 10, Hannah Street. 11, Siri. 12, Ann Fisher. 13, Betty Visa. 14, Elaine Morgan, and 15, Barbara Ryan. If we get through all 15 minutes, I'll pick 5 minutes out and I'll call them out as we get down to the wire here. I'll leave this list over there so you can see.
Okay, what order you're in, yeah. All right, everyone, please have a good time, and I'll see you at the break.
Good day to each and every one of you this day of your time. How are you all this day of your time? Let us begin this interaction with an examination of your connection to the concept that you call nature. If you wish, you may entitle this tape, The Nature of Nature. Now, each and every one of you that call yourselves human beings, that recognize yourselves as the thinking, shall we say, sentient species upon your planet, for a moment discounting the dolphins, which is the other sentient species upon your planet, see yourselves in general as the caretakers of the earth, of your world, of your civilization. You recognize nature around you in the form of the minerals, the plants, the animals. Each and every one of these reflections of creation have their own form, their own expression of consciousness. They are made of consciousness, as are you. They express consciousness, as do you. but they do it in a different way. The main difference between what you call nature consciousness, reflected in the animals and plants and minerals, and sentient consciousness, represented generally in thinking beings such as yourself, is that each and every one of the animals, each and every one of the plants, each and every one of the minerals in nature is representative generally, sometimes very specifically, but representative generally of one aspect of creation as it expresses itself in your civilization, in your dimension of being. Each animal, each plant, each mineral reflects a different aspect. Each contains a unique aspect, one of the facets of the multidimensional crystal that your entire civilization is. While you, as the thinking beings, as the sentient beings, as the self-reflective beings, you are a combination of all of those aspects. And that combination of consciousness, that interactivity of consciousness, is what creates your self-awareness, your sentiency. The idea, therefore, is to understand and recognize that each aspect, whether it be animal, plant, or mineral, is contained within you, is reflected back to you of an aspect that you yourself exhibit, that you yourself contain, that you are the combination of all of the aspects of nature that exist in your dimension of being. Now, when you choose to degrade, or as you wish, defile, or destroy, or cause to be extinct, or damaged one aspect of nature, understand that that is a direct reflection of the extinction, in a sense, of the suppression, in a sense, of that aspect within yourselves. And you create yourselves to function incompletely. Not as a whole being, not as a combination of all aspects, but having gaps, having holes in your makeup. As you choose to render certain aspects of nature sterile, so again is this a reflection of the aspects within your consciousness that you have suppressed and rendered sterile. There is a direct connection in that way. And you can gain some insight into the types of things that are going on in your planetary society today by recognizing what areas of nature you have caused stress within, and recognizing what those areas, whether they again be animal, vegetable, or mineral, what those areas represent, what they symbolize to you. For you will see there is a direct connection, a direct reflection, a direct representation of what that area in nature symbolizes compared to the area in yourself, in your collective and individual selves, that requires nurturing and loving, and requires that you resuscitate it. Now, if you have caused a certain aspect of nature to become completely extinct, this does not mean that that symbolic portion of your consciousness cannot be revived. You can still do it because you are the totality, the combination, the reflection of the infinite, all that is, in your dimension of experience on your planet. Aspects of God, if you wish. Aspects of creation, co-creators. And all of nature, in that sense, a reflection of the co-creators that you are. Not to say that, again, nature does not have its own self-awareness and its own consciousness, but it is in a very different form. But you can resurrect any aspect that you have seemingly destroyed. And if you resurrect that aspect within your consciousness, you may then find that certain physiological mutations will take place, in the nature of your planet, so that a new species will arise to then represent the symbol that perhaps was represented by an old species that became extinct. You can replenish nature in that way through the replenishment of your own consciousness, through the integration and completion and nurturing of your own totality. Nothing is forever lost, but it is up to you to decide whether you will begin to replenish those aspects now, or whether you will choose to render the entire reflection sterile. 'Tis up to you. We recognize that your consciousness now is beginning to desire replenishment, wholeness, integration, totality. So communicate, interact with nature, learn what all of the ideas of animal consciousness, plant consciousness, and mineral consciousness symbolize for you, what they reflect about you to yourselves. Nurture them and love them as you allow them to show you how to nurture and love yourselves wholly, totally, completely, unconditionally. Allow it, because nature is you. You are nature. You cannot remove yourself. You cannot be removed from nature. You are all that is. Nature is all that is. God is all that is. It is all one thing. See the reflection. Learn from the reflection what aspects of yourself are in diminishment and what aspects of yourself to revive and resuscitate, so that you will, in that sense, radiate the reflection of nature. And it will in turn radiate back to you a reflection of wholeness. Now, the dolphins have their own form of this idea, but theirs mostly exists in the sea, because there are two completely different environments upon your planet, the land and the air and the sea. And they have their own reflections of nature, and they understand its homogeneousness, its integrity, its holographic structure. But you have extended your interaction with nature even unto their domain, and some of their own reflections are also dying out. Take back your power by understanding that it is already innately within you, and that you do not have to force control over aspects of nature in order to feel powerful. Relax into unconditional love and learn the symbology of yourself as represented in all things natural. You are natural. All things are nature. And love will support that, and will support you, easily and effortlessly, joyfully and ecstatically. And you will know your place, so to speak, within creation. You will understand your reflection of the infinite. And you will act accordingly, because it will be natural for you to do so. Remember again, as we have said before, you are not seeking to be normal. You are seeking to be natural. In many ways, the normalcy you have created in your society is at the expense of your own nature. Be true to yourselves, and nature will be true to you. It is as simple as that. At this timing, once again, allow us to extend to you our deepest appreciation in allowing us to experience the gift that you are, the aspect of creation that you are. And in return for your gift, I ask you now, in what way may I be of service to you?
First of all, Bashar, thank you for coming.
Good day to you. Do speak up and be bold so that all may share in what you have to say.
Certainly. I have listened to tapes of you speaking about the frequency of 7.5 cycles per second.
Approximately, yes.
as an electromagnetic.
As the Earth's frequency, yes.
And this.
Any planetary frequency can be arrived at, again, by a simple formula. You may take what you call the speed of light, and you may divide into that the circumference of the planet. It will then render unto you the number that is the frequency of the planet in electromagnetic terms.
Can you elaborate on how we would go about producing an article that would do this? And would it also heal individuals that are not diseased, but who have a spinal cord problem, something that we consider to be unrepairable in our system?
It is possible. The idea, again, is to understand that all you need to do is create devices that simply pulse at that rate. The strength of the field, the way the field of electromagnetism is aligned will have much to do with it, and will have much to do with what individuals are attracted to use that device. Whether, in other words, they feel aligned enough with the concept of the device to allow it to have an effect on them. For remember that all individuals are actually healing themselves. All the device is doing is acting as a trigger to allow their belief system to function in a normal, shall we say, natural fashion. But you can create electromagnetic fields through many different methodologies. It is simply then that if you pulse it at the frequency that is natural to the Earth, you are giving the individual an opportunity to feel what the natural total field of the Earth consciousness is all about. And they can then relax their consciousness into aligning magnetically with the overall pulse of the field. And within that field, if they allow themselves to truly go back to a zero rest point, their primary point of power in the present, with no connection to the idea of hanging on to the past or projecting to the future. If they can bring themselves to that centered meditative state within an electromagnetic field, or a field generated by crystals, or even an acoustically generated field that is being pulsed at 7½ cycles approximately per second, then by allowing themselves to be immersed in that field and feeling empathetic vibrations with that field and allowing their vibration to match that field, anything at all, any physical alteration is possible within that state. But they must allow themselves to truly arrive at that absolute limbo state of all things being equal and no one thing standing out more than any other. Then their conscious commandment can create any physiological change they desire. You understand?
Yes, very much. How long, and is it repeated? Could it happen fast?
Again, it can happen at any rate depending upon the belief system of the individual, both creating the field and co-creating the interaction with the individual that immerses themselves within the field. It will always be different based on the interaction of the different belief systems involved in that particular creation. You understand?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Very much.
Also remember to use your own imagination in how to create that field. Because if it is your desire to do so, then your imagination is specifically keyed to the way that would work best for you and the way that would work best for anyone that would be attracted to your particular methodology. You find what I am saying to be understandable?
Yes.
Does this help you?
Very much, yes.
Thank you very much for your sharing, and exciting times to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'd like to talk to you about something that transpired 5 years ago to this month that occurred with you. I received a letter that Daryl had automatically written in the afternoon that was on the day of the Challenger incident. And you had given me a letter that was about developing a new branch of psychology.
Yes.
And I've been reflecting on that for the last 5 years.
And how has it been going?
It's very exciting.
Oh, all right.
And I'd like to explore it a little bit more with you.
By all means.
Okay. At this point, how I perceive it is that intentional psychology is merging with the idea. And
very good.
And in doing that, it's kind of a process of working backwards.
How do you mean that?
Okay. The way I see it is you merge with an idea, and therefore you will be at point A, and you then align yourself to, let's say, point B. And in becoming point B, you kind of act in the as-if. And in working backwards, what you do is you be everything that you intend to be. And you kind of work, when I say work backwards, everything that you would need to be, in a sense, you already become.
All right. Is there a way you can simplify this notion?
I'm working on it.
All right. Is there a way you can simplify your working on it? What does it actually mean to you to do such a thing as you have described? Can you actually describe the process itself as if you were going through it right now? Can you create the intention as an example and give an example of actually creating the process now in the present? Example of intentional psychology.
Okay, let's see. I know how it existed in my life. Can I explain that?
All right.
Okay.
But again, you may explain, but we would prefer that rather than explain, you demonstrate.
Okay, demonstrate.
Yes.
Okay, the idea for me was years ago to become a doctor. When I entered into a doctorate program, the moment I entered into it, I knew I was a doctor.
All right.
I then
Are you a doctor now?
Yes.
All right, then say, I am a doctor.
I am a doctor.
Thank you.
At that point that I had made the decision, I hadn't received a doctorate. However, I never doubted it. I never. It was just a matter of doing the steps necessary to complete it. But from the moment I made the decision, I knew I was a doctor.
All right, very good. And you acted like a doctor from that point forward, yes?
Yes, from everything that I believed that a doctor was.
All right, very good.
And it manifested.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so
Are you surprised? Were you surprised?
No,
Oh,
not
all
at
right.
all. Not at all.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so in exploring this idea a little bit further,
Yes.
in being able to put this idea to work
Yes.
in the work that I do,
Yes.
what I'd like to know is how to
what? Be an intentional psychology doctor?
correct.
Oh.
I think what you said.
All right. One moment. Repeat after me. I am an intentional psychology doctor.
I am an intentional psychology doctor.
One more time. Say it again. I am an
am-
intentional psychology doctor.
I am an intentional psychology doctor.
Is there a way that you would prefer to say that would seem more comfortable to you? Would you rather simply say, I am a doctor of intentional psychology?
No, what I'd rather have is what you talked about, and that is a simpler way of understanding.
All right. Well, we are doing that. We are doing that right now, even as we speak.
Okay.
Follow along, just for a moment.
Okay.
Answer the question, which format of the sentence seems more natural to you? I am what? Fill in the blank, as you say. I am
an intentional. I think it's more just a person because I'd like it to manifest in every aspect of my doing.
All right, then you are an intentional psychologist?
Yeah, but I don't identify as the psychologist all the time. I identify as an intentional person.
I am an intentional person. I am intentional.
I am intentional.
All right, I am intentional. Say it again.
I am intentional.
Say it again.
I am intentional.
Say it again.
I am intentional.
Do you believe it? What's the hesitation?
I say 99% of the time.
Oh, 99. All right, then repeat after me.
Okay.
I am 99% intentional.
I am 99% intentional.
I am 99% intentional.
I am 99% intentional.
Where is the other 1%?
In the areas of manifestation.
Areas of manifestation.
That seem to come from places that I don't consciously create.
All right. Do you feel that you must always be absolutely consciously aware of all the details of how a manifestation takes place in order for it to manifest?
No, but it would be nice.
Why? Why would you want to get in your own way like that? You may simply be making the assumption that to be consciously intentional means you have to be consciously aware of every single little detail that goes into the creation of the manifestation. When in fact, if you were to insist upon that, you might become very adept at being aware of all the details, but you might not be very adept at the actual manifestation because you would be spending all your energy being aware of all the details. behind the manifestation, and that would be its own manifestation. That skill, that trait, that attribute, to be aware in and of itself of all the details that might go into the creation of a manifestation, is in and of itself a manifested skill. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
If you will then change the definition and allow yourself to relax and not choose the manifested skill of being aware of all the details, you can then change your focus to the manifested skill of something else. The manifested skill of manifesting, instead of the manifested skill of being aware of all the details that go into making up the manifestation. You do not need to be aware in that way. Your conscious mind is not capable of being aware and manifesting at the same time, because it is an automatic thing. Not in your physical dimension, anyway. On other levels, perhaps. But in this physical dimension, your conscious mind relies on a physiological structure for its existence. And for you to be aware of every single aspect within a physiological structure is not, in that sense, comfortable for your physiological mind. It cannot hold on to that many, shall we say, bits of information and still function in life. You understand?
Yes, I do.
So, first, our suggestion would be to relax your requirement of absolute, total, outer aware consciousness of every single detail that goes into the making of a manifestation of something you desire. Because you must understand this as a balance, a paradox, if you will. The idea, the absolutely accurate way to exercise your conscious choice is to make that choice and then let it go. And let the universe automatically supply you with what you need, without having to issue a widespread level of mental control over the circumstances of that manifestation to be.
Yeah, I understand that, and I feel,
all right,
for the most part, that is what I do. But
But you keep saying, for the most part, 99%.
Yeah, there's that one part that gets me.
Why is there this 1%? And what is this 1% that will not simply allow the universe to work in that direction? And really, all this talk of 99% and 1% is also very arbitrary anyway. Yes. But we understand how you are using that idea.
Yes.
But what is that idea? What is that belief system that in your terminology appears to get in the way?
I think it has to do with the idea of letting go. I understand the concept.
All right. What would happen if you did?
I understand the concept, and
yes.
I practice it.
Practice?
I actually experience what letting go is like.
All right. Every time? All the time?
No, because I think sometimes, as much as I understand it and experience,
yes,
it still seems like a arbitrary kind of concept that isn't always
isn't always working?
Correct.
All right. Do you understand, however, that it does always work, never doesn't work?
Yes.
Cannot stop working, otherwise the universe would collapse.
Yes, I understand all that. There's something about the idea of letting go.
Yes.
That is.
It seems like it's taking it out of your control. But it isn't. It is actually really taking full responsibility to let go. You see, it appears that you are simply laboring under a semantic difficulty.
Correct.
The idea in your society, yes, when people talk about surrender, let go, usually does imply that you give your responsibility over to something or someone else. That is not what's happening. You can learn to understand the issue of letting go as trust in that you and creation are working together. That you have the free will to make a choice, but then that choice will go through the automatic machinery of creation to bring you what you want. But that you are the determiner of what that reality will be. And the universe, if you let go, will simply automatically work for you to bring you all of the circumstances and situations and opportunities that are reflective of what you have chosen with your free will. Letting go does not mean giving up your power. Letting go means letting the universe work with you, hand in hand, as a co-creator with the one all that is. Does this illuminate the situation a little bit more clearly?
Yes, I do understand that. Just one last bit of clarifying.
Yes.
In working with others,
Yes.
in doing it, would the process be to ask people to basically merge with the idea of whatever it is that they are intending?
Yes, you can do it that way as well.
Well,
Identification as the idea, being the idea. In a sense, not too far removed from what you call acting, but full acting, where the persona really is the other person. But you identify with either another person, as an idea, as a place, as a thing, as a concept, and by identifying as it, you feel what it is to be that thing, and then you come away understanding the psychology of that idea. You simply know it because you have been it. That is intentional psychology.
and was that your intention 5 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Does this help you?
Yes, it's all too simple, though.
Oh, too simple. All right. You may complicate it in any way that is comfortable and exciting for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Sharing.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day, good day, good day.
Speak up, be bold.
I am bold.
Thank you.
But I'm not sassy.
Sassy, all right.
I do love this synchronicity. The previous discussion bears a great deal on what I wanted to share with you today.
All right, thank you for your timing.
Thank you for helping me to understand how to go with the flow.
Proceed.
I'm up to my eyeballs in extraterrestrials. Not only this was my wish, it was my desire.
Yes.
Not only through channels during the daytime, but in my dream state.
All right.
And the synchronicity of this previous discussion, which had to do with the intentional, the concept,
Yes.
and not getting involved in all the details, was something that illuminated me, because I'm having very strong ideas that in the dream state I seem to be working with councils, extraterrestrials, peoples here, there, and the other place.
Yes, and so?
On council. Now, I don't know who they are or what groups. I have only said to myself that my intention is to work in the light, so
right.
I trust that the universe will hear that.
Then you understand what the work is that needs to be done. In general.
In general, the work that is to be done is to live harmoniously
Yes.
with all that is.
Yes.
Okay.
In a sense, therefore, that is the signature of who you are dealing with. And for now, that is really all you need to know about them.
All right. I do have one example or one occurrence that was quite energetic, I must say,
Oh,
and
all
very
right.
interesting to me.
Yes, we are very energetic.
Yes, and you were in that dream state as well, I think. However, I wanted to just say that this could be an interpersonal example, so I don't know whether you want to deal with it here or not. But I did.
It is up to you, is it not?
Okay, thank you. I like to be free will.
Understood.
Okay.
I will simply suggest that you keep it brief.
Very brief. I was sitting in a council having a discussion about probably planetary or cosmic matters, I don't know which. I came to the feeling in my body as I was beginning to come to consciousness that I had a great difficulty in breathing. There seemed to be a tremendous pressure on my chest as if I were in some other atmosphere.
Yes.
Breathing, and we went into a meditation in the dream state, and what woke me up was the other being, one of the other beings' words saying to me, "It all depends on how your government is going to handle Bashar." And that woke me up.
Yes.
Those sounds, those words came through my voice, and that's what woke me up into
Yes.
daytime reality.
Yes.
I took it to understood by those words that I was having some kind of a conference with someone, and since I am a resident here on Earth of the United States government as a citizen, that there might have been some action planned.
In general, what it is a reference to is what was mentioned by the channel, at least in first part, at the beginning of this session. Not something that you necessarily have to do right now, except as far as your involvement with something that I have initiated. And that initiation is simply a statement on a piece of your paper, which will, as has been explained, be turned into a metallic plate. This idea usually would have been done with no reference to me. This is the first time it is appropriate to have what I use as my name, Bashar, actually exist at the bottom of the statement. because it will have specific meaning to the individuals who are to receive the statement. And it connects directly into their history. And they will understand it on a level that your society is not immediately aware of, but which your society and your government will have to deal with.
Shivai,
We thank you.
we send our deep love and thank you for the interaction.
Simply, again, allow us to explain, because we wish this to be clear. Normally, it is not important that this information comes from us.
Understood.
In this one case, the timing of the situation and the lever which will be moved make it an exception.
Understood.
We thank you.
We thank you.
Your participation simply in spreading that statement in whatever form you wish is the participation that was illuminated to you in the dream.
Shivai again.
And to you, Shivai.
Until next time.
Shivai simply is, in our ancient language, the statement that refers to an individual in a state where they proceed directly ahead with something and everyone gets out of their way because they know they mean business. To put it in your colloquial terms, it means that you have a vision and that you are applauded for going ahead with the vision because it is representative of what is uniquely you. Shivai simply is the statement that acknowledges that. Shooting!
Yahoo and good day, Bashar.
Yahoo. All right. I will assume that is an equivalent in some
Shivai.
sense of Shivai, yes.
My version. I wasn't at the last session, and I was wondering if you could share with us what has been happening to you. I heard that
Yes.
you are turning your body into a crystal.
Well. Now, one moment. A more crystalline form.
Oh, there's not going to be another Crystal Bashar running out there. Why are you doing this?
It is a process of my own evolution as we in our civilization go from physicality to non-physicality. Similar to certain things that are actually happening in your physical bodies as well. You are becoming slightly more siliconized so that you can be better receivers. There is more silicon deposits in your brain structure. Now this is extending in our civilization to our entire bodily form. We are becoming more sensitized transceivers in that way. And I am connecting to many other civilizations, acting as a gateway through which those different civilizations can communicate. In that sense, I am becoming more crystalline in nature. I still have a physical form to some degree, but the actual molecular structure of my physical form is becoming more crystallized through this process. You understand?
Yes, I do. Can you share with me the best way to utilize this cut crystal that Daryl held before? Friends of mine in Mount Shasta had it cut, and the person who ordered it no longer wanted it, so there are no accidents. I ended up with it 2 years ago, and I'm ready to work with it now.
As has already to some degree been described, any of what you and your society call the platonic solids in crystalline form will act as information storage devices. The idea for the one that you are holding, in the sense that it is pentagonal in nature on the faces, is representative of the level of humanity itself, 5 being the number of humanity. In this sense, it can act as a storage and retrieval device for you, triggering knowledge of the history of humanity, both what you would call past and future knowledge. Can be used in that way if you wish. Can be used to perceive the idea of incarnational lives, both of yourself and with reference to gathering information for other individuals who may be so interested. It acts in that sense as a storage device or a tapping device for the Akashic records in that way, with regard especially to the idea of the history of your humanity. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Does that help you?
Thank you very much, Bashar.
Thank you very much. Sharing. With regard especially to the idea of the history of your humanity. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Does that help you?
Thank you very much, Bashar.
Thank you very much. And to you, good day.
I would like to connect with my own power and my own purpose.
You go right ahead.
Right now.
Oh, right now. All right.
Now.
I will assume that you are connected. Do you feel you are connected right now?
Not totally. I'd
All right, another 99%.
Yes. I'm wanting to remember who I have been. I've just crossed over. I'm 51, and I'm wanting to write a book.
Oh, all right.
And
do you think that perhaps, as you go through the process itself of writing the book, that certain memories will not come to the forefront?
Well, I thought you could help me.
I just did.
You did?
I just told you
that's it.
that any time you go through a process that is representative of what excites you the most, all the things that you need to know about yourself come up through the process. That's what it's for.
And it's going to open me up into...
Of course, because that is your desire. And it will open you up at exactly the right place at the right time so that you will have the knowledge you need to have in order to be the person you need to be to write the book that needs to be written. Understood?
Yes.
It is an automatic, self-contained, self-reinforcing, self-perpetuating process.
In other words, I should bring this about myself and...
Well, no one else can do it for you. I could make suggestions, I could steer you in certain directions, and I'll be more than happy to do that. But again, you will find that we can only touch on the surface, whereas the process you will go through is a very deep process and will allow to bubble up all the things that really are meaningful to you that you must face within a certain kind of a time frame, in a certain state of being, or they will not actually anchor themselves properly in you. I can say many things, but in a sense they will be superficial statements until they are anchored within you through experiencing them. You follow?
Yes.
Now, where in your imagination do you find yourself in history most attracted?
To my future self,
All
but
right.
it still comes from what I have known before that has to do with time and space and communication and...
All right, and what have you known before?
I believe it's an understanding of symbols, a different form of communication in space, things like that I can't quite connect to in my here and now time. And I was wondering if you could help connect with something I've done in the past.
All right, let's take an example, starting this way. Name a symbol that you feel that you cannot connect to.
J.
J?
J.
J, J, J. Is this the letter or a person's name?
It's a letter.
Letter J, J, J.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll ask your imagination to answer. What way do you assume you ought to be able to connect to this? What do you think you should be able to get out of a connection to your letter J? What kinds of things do you think you should come away with when you make that connection or when you cognate on that letter?
It seems to be some type of hook that brings up communication or connects to other communication for me. Does that make any sense? I mean, that's out of the blue.
Does it make any sense? Does that make
out of
sense?
the blue. Yeah?
Yeah? You're not sure?
No, I'm not sure.
Why do you doubt yourself? Why do you doubt the simplicity with which you obviously know what you're doing?
Well, I'd like you to...
reinforce it? Validate it?
Validate it,
Why?
yes. Have I had knowledge of communication before? What have I done before? And
You mean in all your other lives?
yeah.
I don't think we have time to list them all.
Well, wanting to connect was producing this book. Because I have a great need to have...
One moment. J.
Not particularly J.
Koan.
Koan.
Yes, koans.
And what is...
You understand?
No, I don't.
Zen koans.
Could you...
Become familiar with the type of poetry called a Zen koan.
All right. Thank you.
And it will help explain some of the connections that you have had in the past with regard to what you call wordplay and the symbology of language and the intention of meaning. All right?
Yes, thank you. And one more question. I felt...
That was a question right there.
Thank you.
One more question?
A quick one. I feel I've been channeling Metatron, somewhat Metatron, and...
Metatron is, in and of itself, indicative of a completely encapsulated understanding of language.
All right.
Metatron is a key.
I see.
It is a key to unlocking the understanding of what language itself symbolizes and what the vibrations of the letters in different alphabets actually mean and what those vibrations actually do to you transformationally. Metatron is a key for you. Meditate on it as a key and it will help you unlock what you call the secrets of understanding the meaning of letters and language. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ioya.
That is enough.
That is enough. Stop. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sherry.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I wrote a screenplay
All right.
about musicians from another planet. I choose your planet, and I thank you for that input.
Now, we would suggest that you do not use our planetary name.
Oh, okay.
Choose another of your own imagination.
Okay. Okay, I wrote a story about a musician from this other planet who comes through the dreams of a girl into this world. Would that be possible?
No, not at all. I have a feeling you don't believe me. Why should that not be possible? You have the ability to imagine it. Your ability to imagine it in and of itself is an indication that it is possible. Otherwise, you would not have been able to conceive of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
All right, then it is possible. Of course it is possible.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that that's always what is happening, but it is possible.
Okay. So, the other thing is that
One moment.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The reason that we suggest that you use another planetary name is because this should be, I will use that term for now, more indicative and more representative of your own imagination story, your own personal history, rather than connecting to a word which will, in your future time, be understood to be representative of an actual place.
Mm-hmm.
And has to do more with our story.
I see.
All right?
Okay, thanks. Could you please give me some insight? I have a problem to get this screenplay to the particular musician I have in mind.
Why do you have a problem doing that?
Because I think this is what is reflected to me, my insecurity, because I always think it's really hard to get to this person and they will never get me, they will never read it or,
Why do you think these things? Do you feel that writing the screenplay was representative of your joy?
Yeah.
Do you not believe that your joy has its place in the world? That you would have done this for no reason at all? That it does not belong, it does not fit in creation? Do you believe that?
No.
Do you believe that it obviously fits because you had the excitement to do it?
Right.
Then you must also understand that if it fits and it belongs, all the circumstances that are appropriate to allow it to manifest also will come into play automatically and effortlessly. So there is really no reason for you to hesitate in moving in that direction. It will be a lot easier than you think, but only when you understand that you have the ability to act in that direction because, and for no other reason than you did it to begin with. And since you did it to begin with and felt it was worthwhile doing, the entire process must also be a part of that initial step. You are looking at this in a segregated way. You are saying, well, I did this, but this process is not connected. You're not looking at the entire idea as one thing. That's where your hesitation comes from. You understand?
Yeah.
Writing it and having all the appropriate people look at it is one event. Do not segregate it into more than one event. Otherwise, that's how you create a delay, a separation, a gap, a schism between your cause and your effect. It is one thing if you are inspired to write it, and if it is necessary for other individuals to help you manifest it, then obviously, let it be obvious that therefore, since you have written it, you will automatically attract whatever individuals will help you manifest it. It is one thing. Is this clarifying the idea somewhat?
Yeah.
Is it allowing you to become a little more bold with confidence that you are one single event and you don't have to look at yourself as a collection of pieces?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I think.
You think? You think what?
I think maybe right now I could do it, but I hope that maybe...
You hope? That means you doubt. Now, who do you prefer to be? The person that knows they can do it, or the person that prefers to doubt that they can? Who do you prefer to be?
The person that knows I can do it.
All right. Be that person right now. What does it feel like to be that person?
It feels great.
Feels great. Is there any reason why you would want to choose to be the other person that doubts it?
Actually, no.
All right then. Don't make that choice. It's that simple. When you decide to be the person you decide to be, that's the person you are, and that person does not change until you decide to change it. It doesn't automatically shift into another person that doubts themselves. You have to choose to become that doubtful person. Why would you want to do that? You don't. So don't do it. Don't choose it. Be the person that you prefer to be. And know that that's the only person you will be, as long as you choose to be that person and don't choose to be someone else. Nothing will change without your decision. You understand?
I do.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Do you feel bold?
Yes, I am that person.
Well, thank you very much. I will see you at the movies. Shooting!
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
It's a treat to talk with you again.
And you as well.
And I'm here because I could use some assistance. I'm feeling recently a very strong desire to communicate with non-physical entities that I know are with me.
And what have you done toward this end?
Primarily just meditation.
Just meditation? Just meditation, all right.
But there's been an element of frustration.
Ah.
And I think it's based on my expectation.
All right.
But
What do you expect?
Well, I want dialogue.
Dialogue in what form? You mean you want to hear words in your head?
Yes.
Why?
With the most accessible communication.
That is incorrect. Depends on whose point of view you are talking about. It is not the most accessible form of communication for those you wish to dialogue with.
Well, I could use your assistance in shifting my expectations so that I am aligned with what is a possibility.
All right. What you want to know, as we have pointed out, is what is a more accessible style of communication for those you wish to communicate with, yes?
Yes.
All right. Might as well make it easy on them. All right? Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right. Now, first, an analogy. You have a large, heavy, metallic sphere rolling in a certain direction. Which would you imagine would be easiest? Getting the sphere to move slightly in this direction, getting the sphere to stop dead, or getting the sphere to reverse itself completely?
To shift slightly.
All right. The analogy is to give you some understanding of the point of view of those you are attempting to communicate with. You, still being focused in physical reality, in a sense, are very focused, very densely materialized, and have a certain kind of momentum that is difficult for a less material consciousness to affect directly. A suggestion, a whisper, a nudge, a gentle coaxing in a slightly different direction is much easier for them than getting you to stop dead in your tracks or even go backwards. And here's something in a style that is representative of physical reality. Words, in that sense, audibly. Now, it isn't that can't happen, but the idea is that your guard, so to speak, must be down. That's when it is easiest for them to communicate with you in whatever style you are not watching so closely at that moment. For when you place your expectation on a particular style, you instantly, because of your physiological habits, freeze that avenue, rigidize that format, and it makes it much more difficult for them to manipulate it, get it to work for them. So the idea is to understand that what's easiest for them is to use whatever is at hand in your physical reality that already exists along the path your momentum is taking you along, and gets you to just look a little bit left and a little bit right at the things that are already there that are capable of helping them deliver their message. For example, you say, well, all right, I've opened up a dialogue with these beings. I have put out perhaps a question that I wish some information on. And then you go walking down your street, and while you are pondering something else, all of a sudden, for no apparent reason, your attention shifts to a book title sitting just over there in the front of a store. And the title of the book is exactly pertinent to what it is you were thinking about, and forms one piece of the information you need. And then perhaps as you're strolling toward the bookstore because your interest is attracted, you overhear a conversation. And this person says something that adds another piece to the information that you want. So what I am suggesting is that synchronicity is the first tool. What you call coincidence, which is not accidental, is the first and easiest tool that your guides have to communicate with you, because the elements are already in place in your reality. And all they need to do is just nudge you ever so slightly, just attract your attention ever so slightly to get the information delivered to you. Whereas demanding your full attention for an actual audible conversation is not something that's that simple for them anymore, because they are in a completely different realm of consciousness. And they do not communicate in any way, shape, or form like they used to when they were physical. If they even were ever physical.
All right, I understand what you're saying.
All right.
But what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing on a feeling level is that there is and I know that all my guides teach me, but what I'm feeling now is that there's a very specific teacher.
Yes, that may be so, but that still doesn't mean that communicating in what you call audible words is the easiest thing for them to do.
Yeah.
And to remember that the primary thing that any guide is attempting to teach you is how to rely on your own intuition, not on them.
Right.
All right? So they will remain in the background for the most part. Now, again, doesn't mean that from time to time you cannot receive what appears to be an audible communication. Usually, however, that will occur when you least expect or demand that it must occur that way, because then you will be open to all the ways it could occur, and you make it easier for them to reach you on any one of those particular ways. You follow me?
Yes, I do follow you. And one last question then.
Yes.
In terms of what I'm feeling, can you give me any insight about that? Is there someone specifically that I can direct my energy to, or that I can resonate with if I know more about them?
What has your own imagination told you so far? Do you have a symbol that represents them? A symbol that came into your mind's eye?
I do.
What is it?
It's a medicine woman.
All right. Then let that be your guide.
All right.
Resonate to that symbol. It might even be helpful for you to actually talk to what you call a medicine woman and see what that does for you. Perhaps the vibration can simply rub off in a way that will allow you to be more sensitive. One moment. A place. A physical place upon your planet that is more representative of that symbol would also help to put you directly in touch with that energy. You understand? A physical location that you feel is representative of the concept of being a medicine woman. Is there such a place for you?
Not at the moment. But I mean, I...
Have you ever been drawn to any such place? Particularly in what you might call your southwestern area?
I'm not that familiar with the southwestern areas. But, I think of the Santa Barbara Mountains, the Chumash Village, but I have not explored the southwestern area.
All right. Why did you think of your Santa Barbara area?
A Chumash village that used to exist in the mountains.
And
there.
why does that attract you?
The energy of the land.
And have you gone there?
Yes, I have.
And what do you feel when you're there?
I feel the connection.
All right. Then anytime you want to feel the connection more strongly, why do you not go there?
Well, I live on the East Coast.
So?
Well, I'm headed there tomorrow.
All
so
right.
I will. All right. Well, so in other words, I guess there's no name or no
It is not our duty to give you one at this time. It is our perception that others may be able to do so, but it is our perception and our choice that to render it into a specific name would at this time limit your capability to really be open.
All right.
We will allow you to perceive what you need to perceive in that Santa Barbara area, in that energy, and leave the dialogue up to you and up to them. For now, we feel that it would become too concrete, too specified, too narrow, and too limited to hone it down to a particular vibration. All right?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bashar.
Enjoy. And remember, east, west, north, south, no limitation. You can be wherever you need to be and will always be there when you need to be there if you do not give yourself a limitation. All right?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love you.
And unconditional love to you as well. Hatu. Sharing.
Bashar.
Good day.
Shivai.
Shivai.
Okay. You often mention people around, and all interaction we have is the self-reflection, right?
Yes.
So,
does not discount them as consciousness, for you are reflection to them as well. That's the way all that is works. It interacts with all of the facets of itself. Each one is its own identity, and yet each one is the whole.
So since people have their own intention,
yes.
you know, when I get interaction, it's a co-creation. So you
yes.
depend on other people's
It is an orchestration.
intention.
You get from them what you need, they get from you what they need. It's an orchestration and a sharing of timing and synchronicity.
Isn't it a paradox by saying
yes.
it's your own reflection?
Of
Because
course
they have
it's a
intention.
paradox. Everything in physical reality is based on a paradox. What you call a paradox is only the physical reality's way of looking at the totality of all that is, because in physical reality that totality cannot all exist perceptually in the same place at the same time. So it breaks up into polar opposites. It seems paradoxical, seems mutually exclusive to you, but if you can see them both, you know that they both must exist together in one spot for you to be able to perceive them at all. It is paradoxical, but when you deal with paradox, that's when you know you're dealing with your higher self. Yes, it is a paradox, because the universe can be anything and is everything it wants to be. And in physical reality, some of these things may seemingly contradict one another, but on higher levels they don't. Does that make sense?
I don't know. I think you told me that my higher self is a paradox.
It is all paradoxical when viewed from physical reality. But you don't have to worry about the idea that it is paradoxical. It is not contradictory. It is not mutually exclusive. Both are the same. Look at it again this way. You need both sides of a coin in order to be able to spend the coin, yes?
Right.
If you just had one side, you wouldn't have the whole concept of a coin and you would not be able to spend it. You need both sides. You need the positive and the negative. You need the seemingly contradictory ideas. But they do fit together like two sides of a coin. They support each other. They give credence and validity to each other. They show you that each other exists. They prove the existence of each other. They support each other even at the same time while they seem to be contradicting each other. But that is the nature of physical reality. But you are the totality, and you are also an individual aspect. This is the holographic nature of existence, of physical existence. It was a net of many pearls. But because it was round and perfectly reflective, every single pearl contained the reflection, that is, contained the information of all the other pearls in the net. So, in order to learn about the whole net, you could just go to one pearl and see all the information in that one pearl. It was a discrete, distinct, single pearl, yet at the same time, it contained the information of the totality of the net. Does that help define the paradox?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Good day. I only have 3 questions.
Only have 3.
Can you reach Elvis?
I assume that you are creating a J joke.
You don't have to laugh, though. It's my question is the nature of the 90s.
Nature of the 90s.
Yeah. It seems like mankind's been involved with blowing things apart, blowing oil apart to gain power, to get transportation on the road, blowing bombs apart, taking things apart, going to the ends of limitation.
Yes, disintegration in order to create the idea of power, but now you are beginning to learn that it is integration that is the reflection of true power.
Blending and integrating is more powerful, adding things together. Cold fusion.
Yes. What are you in now?
Okay. Well, are they going to kind of like fizzle out as self-empowerment?
In a sense, yes, when you take your power back, yes.
So, in a short synopsis, can you sort of like give the signature vibration for maybe the highs and lows, and a little comment on each one for the years of the 90s?
To some degree, we have done this off and on. We will be brief and do this a little bit right now, remembering again that this is only our perception of the energy that you have created collectively at present. It is up to you to change any or all of this, and every decision you make does change any and all of it.
Yeah, free will governs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the idea in general, as some of you have actually said already on your planet, is that your 90s are the reverse image of your 60s. The idealism there can now be applied in what you call pragmatic ways, now that you begin to understand the connection that you are to nature. In physical terms, you are exploring the notion of detachment, suppression. You are exploring the notion of destruction of nature. We have already outlined that it is quite possible that by your year of 1992, an entire ecological system might cease to exist if you do not now do something about the dumping of your sewage into the oceans. It is up to you. We have already outlined the possibility that by your year of 1997, the focus of what you call upheaval in your Middle East will have arrived at a point of great transformation and transition, and that those 3 years following your 1997 can see the potential reversal of all of the negative energy that is symbolized by that area now into something quite positive, but not without great upheaval.
Question. If we lose the ecosystem of the ocean, I mean, if it goes into collapse, wouldn't dolphins not have a place to stay? And if dolphins don't have a place to stay, wouldn't human life be impossible?
A, I did not say it was the entire ocean.
Oh.
B, the dolphins have other places to stay that you know nothing of. The overview will simply conclude for now with the idea that as you approach your year of 1997, it will become far more important for you to understand that you are your government, and that to allow those individuals who have acted as your government to lovingly, unconditionally, lovingly learn that true power comes in serving, not in dominating. This transformation will be the paramount transformation of your 90s, the taking back of your power in a loving way, not in a way of what you would call war. This is the overall theme, the taking back of your power and the transformation of the negative into the positive. So that beginning with your new millennium, you can see physically on your planet the beginnings of the manifestations of light, of harmony, of peace, of justice, and equality. This is your general theme. But again, action is what's important.
Doing, yeah.
Acting like you are unconditionally, lovingly taking your power back. Being involved because you cannot be uninvolved. Being expansive. Showing, reflecting, acting as an example of that doing, of that vitality, of that vibrancy, of that certainty, of that knowingness, of that trust, of that faith, that this is the reality we prefer. We prefer. Thank you.
Super thanks.
Super welcome. Shooting!
Hi,
Bashar.
And to you. Good day.
I wanted to know what's going on in Sirius right now and how that's reflecting in our society.
There are, rather than a general spread of that energy to your society, there are different groups that are focusing within your society upon that information. Dolphin consciousness has always again been in contact for quite some time with the Sirius energy, and individuals that interact with dolphin consciousness are always first and foremost interacting through the dolphins with Sirius energy. But now it takes a concentration of energy, a focus of energy, an intention of an individual to focus specifically with regard to utilizing Sirius energy. For Sirius energy is not being, in a sense, received by you in a widespread manner now, because different groups are focusing themselves in different ways. But Sirius still symbolizes the gate of your higher transformation, the gate of your higher self. And from the beginning of your 1990 decade, any individual now wishing the idea of solidifying contact with your own higher self, of acting like your higher self in physical reality, is being assisted very specifically by Sirius energy. And again, it always takes the form in general of something that has to do with being very playful. Doing things that give you the joy, that give you the excitement, that allow you freedom of expression. And again, also, many times has to do with things that work in threes. Your scientists do not know this yet, but will perhaps soon find out that Sirius is a triple star system, not a binary. And in this way, it is representative of the total triad of Sirius, of our civilization, Essassani, and of your civilization of Earth. So it represents the apex of the pyramid, the tetrahedron now. And if you wish access to your higher consciousness, being in a meditative state, imagining the tetrahedral structure, three-sided pyramid, and imagining that Sirius energy is the apex, flooding down, filling the pyramid, feeling that energy, that light, you will then be on the frequency, on the wavelength of Sirius directly, and can have direct access with many forms of telepathic communication, which will mostly manifest within your physical body as a surge of emotionality, like music. And you can listen to that surge of emotionality, you can feel the pulse of that surge of emotionality, and can actually assign different tones to that emotionality, and can actually transcribe those tones onto paper as musical notes, and playing that song will then affect other people by putting them in the vibration of that tonality of Sirius and getting them to identify directly with their higher vibration. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Does that help you?
It does. Do they, I have the feeling that they don't talk so much as like...
As we said, you will feel it as surges of emotionality.
Right.
They are pulses of energy that translate in your body as surges of emotionality, whereas our pulses of energy from Essassani translate in the channel as surges of mentality.
Mm-hmm. Then I have a question, or maybe you could be of assistance to me in that I feel a strong connection with the Sirius energy, and
yes.
I feel more and more, I feel like I want to talk less,
yes.
But unfortunately I don't feel like it fits in. I want to, on the other hand, I want to be able to talk because
you
that's
are
what we do
learning
here.
the idea of economy in the language.
Yeah.
You will not necessarily need that many words. You will get certain things across empathically. But also remember that the idea of paying attention to the vibrations that you will feel in your body emotionally will also allow you more communication through manipulation of tonalities, singing in that sense rather than talking specifically, chanting in that sense, music in that sense to get ideas across rather than the reliance on the day-to-day communicative form you call language.
Because I'm finding lately that when I'm in a group of people who are real talkers and they're talking away and they're talking about ideas and history and stuff, I remain kind of silent, like...
Okay.
But yet I feel left out. I feel like insecure in that. Because
there is no need. You can feel the connection emotionally. They will acknowledge. They will see.
They will respond to you. You will need to say what you need to say, when you need to say it. It will be the precise accent at the right time. You do not necessarily need to be verbose to get the idea across. You understand?
Yeah.
A suggestion, not that you necessarily need to adopt this particular style, but something that will key into an ancient memory for you will be some of what is in your society called the chants of the ancient Latin masses.
Oh.
Understood?
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes, thank you. Yes, very much. Also, I have a request for Daryl to channel Serious Energy at the end
What
of
do you think has been happening here? This is not all just the idea that you call, Bashar. Have you not noticed the intonation change, the delivery change? There is a blending going on of Serious Energy, Essassani, and Dolphin Energy in this. Do you follow?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shooting!
I'm not quite sure what my question is.
Oh, well. All right. Can you make a statement instead?
Yeah, I'll make a statement.
Well, thank
tell
you
me
very
what the
much.
question is.
Be bold.
It has to do with my quest for truth.
Quest for truth!
And my career.
Yes.
I know they work hand in hand because you just said that, and I didn't know that before. But
And you also already know that the truth is composed of all truths.
yes.
So when you say, my quest for the truth, what you're actually talking about is your expression of your truth.
Yes.
At any given moment, whatever that may be.
Actually, what I mean is my own peace.
Yes, same thing.
Yeah. Why am I seeing a conflict in trying to attain my goal and with my career and my quest for that, my own peace?
What conflict do you see? What do you see that you call a conflict?
Sometimes it seems like I can't have one and the other.
What is one and what is the other? Define the things you think are at odds with each other.
The music business.
Music, business,
Yes.
and at
peace.
odds with peace.
There are people out there that relate to that, yeah.
Obviously. Perhaps they have conflicts as well. What is the belief system, what is the definition that you have that says that these things must be conflicted?
Because
are you going to tell me past experience?
Of course, I only see the past.
Why?
Because that's all I have to go by. And
Oh.
I'm not willing to be in the now.
You're not willing to be in the now.
Obviously.
But
Because
do
I'm
you
not
want
doing
to
it.
be?
I want to be, yeah. But
Well, then you are willing to be.
I want to be.
How many times removed?
Well, I mean, I'm saying that because I know that I have the power to be there if I want to be, and since I'm not there, I obviously don't want to be. So I want to be.
Perhaps you just do not believe that the choice you have made to have music and peace is actually manifesting. Perhaps you are not filling the circumstances that unfold in your life with the positive meaning you would prefer them to have. Perhaps you are still reacting to those situations that come up as if they were inherently negative, instead of assuming that they must obviously be reflective of the positive desire that you have and acting accordingly. Perhaps, just a suggestion. What do you think? Maybe, perhaps.
You could be right.
Maybe. Perhaps you do not trust that your decision will stick. Perhaps you have not trusted that your decision did stick. And the second you doubted yourself, you of course got the reflection of that doubt by allowing the effect of the situation to reflect your doubt rather than reflect your positive trust. Remembering, of course, that doubt is not a lack of trust, but only a 100% trust in a reality you don't prefer. There is never, ever, 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 never has been, never will be, never is now, never such a thing as a lack of trust. Doubt is not a lack of trust. Doubt is a 100% unswerving trust in a reality you don't prefer. Understood? First of all, is that principle understood? Yes, no, maybe.
Well, it is kind of. Well, because I thought I had a lack of trust, and now you're saying there's no such thing.
No such thing. You have 100% trust, but it is up to you to decide what you're going to put that trust in. And what you put your trust in is the effect you get.
Well,
so if you say, one moment. So if you say, all right, this is what I prefer, but the strongest trust I have is the belief that it cannot happen that way, or that this reality I'm seeing, or that this manifestation, or that this circumstance, or this situation is representative of a reality other than the one I prefer, then you are only reinforcing the reality you don't prefer. Instead of saying, no matter how it appears, I know. Conviction. I know I chose a belief, a reality that says A and B are one thing, peace and music exist as one thing, that all of my manifestations in my reality will be reflective of that belief. I know I chose that. Therefore, ergo, every single event that manifests in my life must be a reflection of that belief. No matter what in the past I have been taught to believe about how the situation looks and what I have been taught to think it ought to mean, I now know, conviction, that because I have determined what my reality is, that I can determine what that situation will mean. And I choose to believe that it can only be reflective of the positive reality I am. When you make that decision, when you have that conviction, and you act accordingly, then, as you watch the situation unfold, you will see, in no uncertain terms, it unfold in the direction of the reality you chose, and you will see it manifest the effect you prefer. Miraculously. Making sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Okay, that I knew. I knew you were going to say that. I was hoping you would come up with something different.
But are you acting like it? It's really that simple.
I know. It really is that simple.
To it.
Okay, then what I want to know is when I'm like the girl who's 99%. When that 1% comes in, I beat myself up and say, okay, I'm hurting the 99%.
Oh, no. This is another belief that the 1% can hurt the 99%.
Stronger, yeah.
That's its own belief. You don't prefer that belief? Again, remember the library analogy. Are you familiar with that?
No.
You can go into a library, has what you call books you prefer, books you don't prefer, scary subjects, joyful subjects. You can sit in the library all day long, reading all the books. You can delight yourself, you can scare yourself silly. The one that becomes your reality is the one you decide to check out of the library. Everything else stays on the shelf. Just because you become cognizant of the possibility of a negative reality doesn't mean that the cognizance in and of itself will manifest that reality. You, as you expand, all of you, as you expand your consciousness, you're going to do nothing but become more aware of the negative possibilities as well as the positive ones. How can it be otherwise? You're becoming more aware of everything. Just because you become aware that it's a possibility, just because you have examined it, just because you take a look at it, doesn't mean it's going to manifest, and doesn't mean you have to have a belief system that says it will, until you consciously choose it. It comes up, it pops into your consciousness to give you an opportunity just to examine it. Not to say, hey, guess what? This is what you're stuck with. That's not why it's there. It's there to show you that you're expanding, because now you're more aware of more of yourself. And also, remember this very important. The second you become aware of an old belief that you don't prefer, you no longer have the belief. Do you understand? You have to be outside of it in order to know you had it. So your recognition of it is your release from it.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We thank you for your sharing.
Oh, thanks.
You may all enjoy a short break. We will resume contact in this fashion in approximately 10 to 15 of your minutes of counting.
More efficient, less polluting. And the person, if you want more information on this to see after the session, is this gentleman here, Trevor Osborne, and he can give you a little bit more information on what this alternative energy format is, and can perhaps get some Xerox information to you if you're interested in receiving that. So just see him after the session if you're interested in that. We all back in. Do you need to call? Okay.
So, in the event that there's a call the second half of the name, then the addition I add one, Ann Fisher, Betty Visa, number 4, Ann Fisher, Betty Visa, Elaine Morgan, Mark Ryan, Trevor Osborne, Amy S., Karen Mulder, Pamela Sumner, and Irma Garcia. So if you answer your questions, then we can just move over, start with the play so that more time won't be waiting for the field to get us using the microphone.
Once again, thank you very much for coming again. I hope you're enjoying yourself, and I will see you after the break, after the end.
I don't say! You may continue with sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Good day. I have a question that has been running through my mind for a long time, and that is, being a woman in the 90s, I found that my life has gradually led to my spiritual path becoming predominant. And having a family and a husband and a career, I find it that I have a lot of controversy going on within myself as to what should get most of my attention.
One moment. Why are you making a segregation between the idea of spiritual path, family, career, and so forth? Is it all not one life?
Yes.
Does it all not have a place and fit in exactly as it needs to?
Yes.
Is it all not representative, in a sense, of the spiritual being that you are and the physical expression of spiritual being that you are?
That's right, and I'm having difficulty expressing myself, I guess, in all of those areas.
Perhaps it is simply because of how you assume you must. The idea, again, first and foremost, is to be the best example you can be by being the fullest person you know yourself to be.
Yes.
If you are the fullest person living the thing that gives you the most joy, then the sequence of events that occur in the living of that thing will automatically allow you the amount of time necessary to effortlessly relate to all aspects that naturally belong in your life. There is no conflict when you understand that it's all part of one idea, not different ideas that must find or figure out a way to fit together as if they had no business belonging together. It is all one thing. If it is kept as a homogeneous concept, then you will understand everything is a part of the one thing. And it will have its proper place and timing and proper relationship within the overall life you are living. If you look at these different things as segregated things that have to somehow be cleverly worked in together, then you are creating more work for yourself and not allowing it to be as effortless as it could be.
Okay.
Following along so far?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. The idea, therefore, is in doing in your life what excites you the most for you as a person, and thereby fulfilling your mission, your purpose, your service in life, then all the other people that wish to be with you, all the other people you wish to be with, that give you joy to be with, you will easily be able to relate to them. You will have the conscious commandment necessary to make the decisions clearly that need to be made in your life, relevant to all the other people that you interact with in your life. All these things will come from insight, from the insight of your knowingness that you are doing what you truly need to do. Everything will blend smoothly as long as you maintain in that relationship open, continual, honest communication about who you are at any given moment and what you prefer at any given moment, and listen to who they are at any given moment and who they prefer to be at any given moment, then you will understand that naturally, synchronistically, if you are being open, then you will only attract individuals, and you'll only be dealing with individuals who fit, who belong, and therefore what they want will automatically interplay with the things that you want. Not that you necessarily have to want the same thing, but that your schedules, your relationship will intermesh easily, naturally, when you are open with each other about who you really are, and do not put expectations in the relationships about who you think each other ought to be.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yes.
Does this help at all?
Oh,
is this addressing the issue?
Yes, it is, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have something else I want to ask.
Quickly.
Could you describe the mothership?
Describe it. There are many. But the solar wind that we usually use, that is its name in a sense, solar wind is how the vibration would translate of that mothership, is cylindrical in nature, approximately a mile of your counting in length, holding capability approximately 100,000 beings, has many levels, each of which is a smaller cylinder concentrically placed all the way to the core, from the outer shell to the inner core. Each interior surface of each cylinder, each tube, has its own, in a sense, gravitational field so that you can walk all the way around the inside of each level. Thus, in a sense, what you would call up or down is gauged from the center out. The center of the ship being up, the outer skin being down, because that is how the gravitational fields are laid out. So that a person going from what you would look at as the top of the cylinder to the center is still going up, even though to you they might appear to be going down from your orientation. As long as you're going toward the center, you are going up. And in the center, in what might be termed gravity-free zone, is the spine of the engines of the ship, running all the way along and having certain chambers that span the entire circumference, diameter, if you will, of the ship, 5 engines in all. And what you call the bridge being at one end of the cylinder, in actual fact, at both ends. It can go in either direction in that sense. It has overall on the interior a crystalline white metallic construction, very smooth, very seamless. Devices that we require from time to time are projected out of the material due to the inherent circuitry, shall we say, buried in the material. And depending on how that circuitry is activated, then it determines what kind of devices protrude from the crystalline metallic substance and how we utilize them. This is true of our scout craft as well. Will this do as a brief description?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Shooting!
Hello, Bashar.
And who you good day?
I'd like to tell you that you have been a great inspiration.
Well, you have all been a great inspiration to us.
So I want to thank you for that.
We thank you as well. Thank you for your gift of sharing.
I had a dream about 6 months ago. My husband passed away about a year ago, and about 6 months ago, I had a dream that he was back and that we were hugging each other.
Yes.
And it was very, very real.
Yes.
And I looked at him and I said, "Are you really here?" And he said, "Yes, I'm really here."
Yes.
I wondered if you'd give me an idea if he really was.
Oh, yes.
there.
You see, 6 months was the time span in your physical time that he required for what might be termed orientation to the new reality level. And after that, then, the timing was correct for him to let you know that everything is fine, that he's quite busy learning about his new reality level. And from time to time can check in a sense, giving you some advice, some suggestions as a guide from his new perspective. Still has not completely chosen the direction that he may go in. Still has not completely chosen whether or not he will reincarnate again. But it is, in that sense, yes, a real encounter, letting you know, being in touch, not out of touch, that he is all right, and that you can send information and he will receive the information. And that also letting you know he can send and that from time to time, when necessary, you will receive. Yes, you're never out of touch. What you call physical death truly, truly, truly is only like stepping from one room to another in the same house. Really no different than that. Just operating in a different modality. You understand?
Yes.
You can always, and very often it is easier for you in physical reality to communicate with those beings in non-physical reality through your dreams, because all your expectations are dropped in dreams. You are actually more of your true self in dreams, where you are an unlimited being, and therefore are more easily capable of receiving communications from other beings in that level. Yes, of course it was real.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I had nothing to do with it.
Thanks anyway.
Well, you're welcome anyway. Shitting!
Hello.
One moment. Last person who spoke. Though this may or may not be directly relevant to what we just spoke about, because sometimes our perception of your dimensional reality is not synchronized with our time frame, but I will ask you simply, though it may not have present relevance and may have relevance later on, is there an individual named Robert involved in this? All right. One moment. What is your present physical age? In 5 years' time, you may know the Robert we are referring to. Highly possible this may be the name of the reincarnation. We shall see. It will be a child with delightful eyes. That phrase will help you remember it when the meeting occurs. Delightful eyes. For now, just forget about it. All right? Thank you. Please proceed with sharing.
I have never experienced the energy that I have felt here tonight. Can you tell me if I do have a connection and also how I might maintain the energy and focus?
Understand that what you are feeling is your own energy. We give off, when we connect in this way, a particular frequency, a particular vibration. But you, all of you, must match that frequency in order to perceive it. We radiate it, but you have to respond to it in order to feel it in your physical structure. What we are therefore doing is showing you that you have this level of energy available to you all the time, and it is your own. It doesn't come from us, even though we might key it for you. So how you maintain it, first of all, is knowing that it is not something you have to maintain as if with an effort. It is yours. You can create it anytime you wish to feel it. Just call it up and it is there. Knowing that it is your energy to begin with can make it very easy for you to do this. If you wish to use a cue, just recall this encounter. Recall us Recall the energy you are feeling now, and in recalling, this is actually a trick, in recalling the energy, what is actually happening is you are creating that energy in the present. You see, memory is created in the present. And when you recall, yes, I remember how it felt, that's a trick of your language. If you remember how it felt, you are feeling it right now. So all you have to do is remember how it felt, and what you're actually doing is creating that energy for yourself right now. And it's your energy. So you can use it in whatever way, shape, or form your imagination so desires to create the reality that excites you the most. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
I'm very excited to get a chance to talk to you. I've been to see you speak 3 times, and I've wanted to ask you a question each time. So,
all right.
The first time that I came to see you speak, you expanded on some concepts that I had the basic foundation of. The idea of really perceiving your reality, working on it, and creating it to make it what you want. You spelled it out in such a way as I'd never quite heard before, though, and it was terribly exciting to me.
Terribly? Oh, all right. Thank you.
But in working on really trying to grasp that idea, I ran into some...
In grasping the idea, not working to try to grasp. Adds more difficulty, adds more time, adds more strain, adds more stress. You can simply say, in grasping the idea. Okay. Because you will go through a process. You will face challenges. You will grow. You will have things to learn. You don't have to say, working to try. That simply adds more time. All right? So I will assume that you are grasping the idea and that you're working, quote unquote, at it in whatever way, shape, or form you need to that is appropriate for you.
Well, I feel like I do grasp the concept. I understand all of the mechanics of what you explained.
All right.
At least to the best of my ability so far. It seemed clear to me. My problem was that when I projected your concept onto other situations,
yes,
I needed someone, hopefully you, to explain how those situations might work with the same information. For example, if you are constantly creating your own reality,
yes,
with an intentional positive effect, do other people constantly create their own reality in a negative manner when negative things happen to them?
They can, yes. It depends on what they believe is the most likely thing that can happen to them based on their own insecurities, fears, doubts, and deservability issues.
Okay, then answer me this if you would.
All right.
Was there something... You're familiar with Earth history?
Well, not all of it, no.
Okay.
I'm not that old.
Okay. As to pick in our recent history the most tragic example that I can think of,
yes,
I will use for an example the Holocaust that happened during the Second World War.
All right.
Did the 11 million people who were involved in the Holocaust, who were killed in the Holocaust during that war, were they all at the same place at the same time, and were they all only victims of the reality they created for themselves?
Now, touchy issue on your planet. Pay attention. Pay attention. Listen to how this is being expressed very clearly. All right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Every individual creates their own reality. This does not excuse or take responsibility away from anyone who chooses to co-create and participate in the support of a negative reality. Does not take away from the persecutor to understand that the victim drew themselves into a negative circumstance. The persecutor has just as much duty to refuse to participate as a persecutor as the victim does to refuse to participate in victimhood.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand me so far?
Clearly, yes.
All right. The idea also, which many individuals on your planet misunderstand, is that when we say you create your own reality, we are not saying that those individuals consciously chose that particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that because you have fragmented yourselves into consciousness and unconscious aspects, and because you are brought up on a diet of fear, lack of deservability, and other various issues of shortcoming, then you can create a habit, a cycle for yourself where you believe in the negative outcome more strongly than the positive outcome. And that unconscious belief of self-suppression can draw you towards another individual who, in your terms, has chosen the idea of a sadistic output, and the two merge together as two sides of a coin to create one event. Again, not excusing the perpetrator, but it is also an attraction created by the self-created victim by believing more strongly in persecution, in the ability to be persecuted, than the ability to circumvent and transform that idea in a positive way. Mostly because of habitual teachings over the ages. And the ideas of guilt, the ideas of lack of self-worth, all of these habits in your society constantly regenerate new situations where people attract themselves into victimhood to show them as a reflection, look, this is the strongest belief you have. Is this what you prefer? If not, transform it. Love your enemy. Transform him or her. Do not fear, do not have guilt, do not suppress yourself, do not victimize yourself, and you will not create a victim scenario. For if you do not victimize yourself, then those that are unfolding issues of perpetration will find they have no victims to practice upon.
I'm sorry, can you say that last line again?
Yes. If you do not buy into victimhood, then those that wish to prey on victims will find no prey. And you can then balance the energy so that they will realize that it is only because of their doubts about themselves, the perpetrators, their fears, their belief in their lack of self-empowerment, that they choose to try to dominate anyone else anyway. They are feeling helpless and powerless. That's why they think the only way to gain power is to dominate the only thing they can perceive, which is the reality around them, because they are not in touch with the reality within them. The victim and the perpetrator are basically doing the same thing, but from different sides of the issue. Also, and again, understand, there is no judgment in this, there is no blame in this. But there are issues of karmic balance to address as well. Not that the idea has to be played out in a negative way just because something negative might have been done in the past. There is always a positive way to balance out anything that has been done that might have been negative in a past life. But because of the habit of fear, guilt, and doubt, more often than not in your society, the balances, in a sense, are created through negative means, so to speak. But it is not what might be called colloquially a pure balance, because the positive side has still not been seen. The karmic issues also that exist in what you call the Holocaust, and again, this is not an issue of saying anyone deserved it, but the karmic issues that exist is that you must also remember that the people that you are referring to that collectively functioned as a group of victims were many thousands of years ago slaughtering just as many people. You understand?
Yes.
Therefore, as a collective group, all the doubts, all the fears, all the insecurities coalesced generally into one individual that acted as the figurehead for all that they feared within themselves and bounced back upon them. They could have transformed that individual with love, but the guilt was too strong, too strongly ingrained, and is still too strongly ingrained. Do you understand?
Yes.
Does that help?
Yes, it does.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sharing.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm here from Australia, and I've just come down for a couple of days, mainly so I could...
Come down? Oh, is Australia up?
Okay.
Where?
All right, well, I was up in New York when I came down here, okay?
Up, down, all
okay,
right.
So I've... what I came here for was to share with some people and to let everybody know that the principles that you've been espousing to for the last few years, and I've been listening to your tapes now for maybe 2 or 3 years, really do work. And
well, thank you. They work for us anyway.
I'm sure they do. And I would just like to inspire people to now perhaps look at the time that we're in and maybe start to really live it, because I think this is what the key is now. We've listened to these things, many of us, for many years.
Yes.
And I think it's now the time to do things. And I would like to maybe just share a few of the things that have happened to me since I made that decision.
All right, very brief.
Okay. Firstly, I left my job, and I came from the west coast of Perth, west coast of Australia, and I was attracted to the east coast. I explored that area, met people, and had all sorts of synchronistic things happen. And suddenly I was attracted to New Zealand.
Yes.
And within a few days I was there, and I started meeting people again. And one of those gentlemen was a technical guy by the name of Steve Foster, and Steve Foster introduced me to many, many people in this arena, in the technical side. And within a few days, we formed a group, and we decided that we were going to make an association and perhaps explore some of these new age technologies. Well, within a space of a week, we attracted a gentleman from the United States here to come to New Zealand. He was a born-again Christian, and he was told by the Lord, as he said, all it is, to go to New Zealand. He didn't really know why.
All right.
But he was attracted to our group. Now, what I've got here is the technology which this man has now researched, developed, patented, and he's got something like 21 patents, and there's another 21 or so going through. He's got the backing of the US government, although it's not official yet, to release this technology. This technology is one which is capable of completely and utterly replacing the reliance on oil. It's able to, within a few months, start retrofitting vehicles, running them on this.
All right.
It's a hydrogen oxygen
all right.
from water, which.
And the point of this?
Well, it's to let people know there is something coming up that
times are changing.
It is.
That attitudes are changing. That perspective is changing.
Certainly, and
to be involved in the change.
Certainly, very much so.
Trust their imaginations and give birth to the children of their imaginations, as that individual has done.
That's quite right. But my main point is that everybody now, I suggest, start living fourth density, because once you start doing that, things really start to happen. I could stand here all day telling you about things that have happened to me since the time.
Well, that wouldn't be fourth density. Standing all day telling is not fourth density.
No.
Going out and doing and showing, that's fourth density.
Well, I'm doing that too.
We thank you for your doing.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Sharing.
Good day.
It's a beautiful, perfect, wonderful day.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
glad you noticed.
I had a jillion questions I'd love to ask, and I've thought of them over the times, but today I'm just going to share something.
All right.
And it comes under the heading of why me?
Why you?
Why me?
Why not you?
Well, why not me?
Yes, why not?
A few years ago, I was very happy in my profession in the music industry and had no intention of doing anything else. And then on the day the Challenger crashed, I ended up in the hospital and went through a death experience.
All
my
right.
life has changed since then.
All right.
And I keep getting feelings or like messages or something to do certain things.
Such as?
A few weeks ago, I was guided to get some pink ribbon and some green ribbon and give it out to people, because pink is the color of love and green is healing. And to give it out to people and say, if you're of a mind, tie this around your finger, around a tree, around your car bumper, or whatever, and just get that vibration out there of love and healing.
All right.
So that's what I'm going to do. And the next time we all meet, I'll have pink and green ribbon with me. And if anybody feels like doing anything on their own before then, please do.
All right.
Thank
you for that sharing.
And then the other thing was that I visualized, for some reason, barrels or baskets or bundles of yarn for women who knit and for women who crochet, there's always a little bit left over.
Is it only women who do this?
Oh, no. Rosie Greer does things like this, too. Anyway, it's anybody who feels like it, who has that energy and that talent.
All right.
But anyway, I saw these, and I had taken a blanket out of my car and given it to a cold man who was homeless. And I thought, he can speak for himself, and yet there are cold children and babies and things. And I thought, if we all knit squares, we can put them together and make coverlets and blankets and things and give them out to the people that are cold.
How loving of you.
Children.
Thank you.
And I don't, with my little awkward stitches, trying to...
Your little loving stitches.
Oh, listen, the baby that gets my blanket isn't going to know there's a stitch missing.
All right.
Okay? Because knitting into that is all the love and the care and the sharing. Oh, you all know that, So anyway, that's where I am right now. And afterwards, if people will see me... I will give them my name and my phone number, and anybody that knits or crochets, man, woman, child, or E.T., I'll collect them and I'll put them together and see that it gets to somebody that's cold.
Thank you for your statement of boldness and for your willingness to act.
All right, and I just wanted to share with you that in 1987, after I had that death experience, I channeled some music, and it was... introduced at the World Peace Meditation, and it was declared the official song for Earth Day and was sung on the steps of the Capitol by 150 children from all over the U.S.
Well, thank you.
And that peace song is now being, it has been, a lead sheet has been done, and there are people that are interested in it. And through my connections in the music industry, I could go to the people that did We Are the World and all those things, but this is very important to me that it be done on a level of children.
And so it shall then.
And not. And as I told you once before, I'm going to send it to the leaders of the free world when I have the copies and ask them to please let the children of the world
One
of
moment.
their country
One
sing it.
moment. One moment. The whole world is free. They all choose their reality.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you for reminding
Thank
me
you.
of that. But anyway, that's what's happened on that. And if anybody wants to see me afterwards about knitting,
they got the message.
Knitting up the problems of the world, here I am. Thank you.
Thank
Goodbye.
you for expressing the child within you.
Thank you.
I hope that you remember that you are also applauding for yourselves.
Yes.
Applauding what you know you are capable of doing, each and every one of you. Chilling!
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
I would like to share with you a couple of experiences that I have had and ask you to give me your interpretation, if you will. A couple of months ago, I woke in the middle of the night to a very, very strong smell of ammonia. 2 days later, I woke up in the middle of the night to a very, very high frequency noise in both my ears that was like a tuning to a ham radio. In other words, it increased in pitch to a higher pitch over probably a couple of seconds until when it reached its highest pitch, which was very, very high, in my understanding. At the same time that it reached its highest pitch, it stayed at that pitch for about 5 more seconds, and a triangular-shaped energy field extending out from each of my ears about 8 inches and then extending up to a point above my head came at the same time that the highest frequency and pitch came. And that energy field, a mental picture of it would have been waves that were very, very, very close together in a triangular form.
Stop. Attempt at contact being made, triangle to help guide you to, though not completely specifically our civilization, our dimensional vibration, so that connection could be formed as you desired. Apologies for the smell. Certain centers of the brain activated caused that through imprecise focusing. You understand?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I get the smell of ammonia all the time.
Yes. It will be associated to some degree now that that connecting link has been made.
it will allow you to understand that certain connections are being made. It is also due to your strong associative circuitry regarding smell and memory. You have stronger connection there than some, and this sensitivity was not realized in time to prevent it from being that strongly included in the activation of other areas of your brain for the purpose of opening contact channels. But the smell, now having been established, those paths having been opened, will generally function as a signal that those paths are being opened up and cleared out for receiving information. All right?
Yes, so that's why I am and have been so excited to come. Actually, I've heard your tapes a lot, but this is the first time I have ever attended one of the sessions.
Hey.
And this is why then that I was so excited
Hey.
to come, is because of the connection that we make
Because
actually
you recognize the frequency now, yes, and can work with that frequency since you are specifically keyed to that frequency, and it can help you function in many different areas of your choice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Blessings to you.
Sister.
Thank you very much, brother. Blessings to you.
And you. Shooting.
Shavai, darling.
And to you, Shivai.
Let's see, I'm trying to take this bottle out of here. Last time we saw each other, you said you would have an answer for me.
Not an answer.
Well,
Just further discussion on the same subject.
yeah. Do you remember what we talked about?
Yes, we were talking about the herbs.
Yeah.
The idea of application of herbs to your society to help them balance out certain things that are now handled by other formats.
Anyhow, that's it. You got it. I wanted, first of all, to share that the reason I got involved with this herb was because it helped save my grandma's life 2 years ago, and my grandma was sent home to die from the hospital. They said her liver was no good, and
Yes.
2 years later she's doing fine. And there's a lot of things that have happened. It's a trip because I am an actress professionally. That's what I make my living out of. But I feel like I've always been into healing, and this is, to me, it seems to be a great vehicle because it's taking me all over the country. I was in Barbados, which is supposed to be the only place from Atlantis that didn't sink. That's what they say anyway. But I was there in November.
The area around your Bahama Islands, yes, is one of the few areas that remain above water of Atlantis.
Anyhow, this herb took me over there, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
And
much herbology was understood in that area, and communication and transfer of information in that area to you can help you understand the different concoctions and tinctures that can be even brought back in this day and age. If you will attract yourself to a particular crystal form that you feel is indicative of that Atlantean area, you can, in a meditative state, use it to allow information to come to you regarding the herbs that you require, that you need to work with, and how to apply them. The strongest crystalline form that would allow you the most direct communication is what is called the crystal skull. Go and be in communication with this device. Look into its eyes. Allow it to look into your soul and deposit the information required. You have many incarnations in Central American and Atlantean and South American energies, and will quite very quickly remember how to apply these herbal remedies if you will be in touch with the device that you have used many times before. A familiarity will come back, and you will receive the information that you require very quickly. It will also have the added attribute of adding a type of crystallization to the overall energy that you will be using, and the concoctions that you will be creating, the tinctures that you will be creating herbally, will take from your energy in those communications so that they will be of more crystallized and pure form, even though they may still be in liquid form. They will be of higher crystalline state.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted for you to answer. You said you would have the other 4 herbs.
What did I just tell you?
Well, no, but that was something else.
No, it is not.
No?
No.
So
you will get the information through the skull.
Okay. Thank you very much.
A very clear, very open, very direct channel, path, conduit of communication and information has just been given to you. That is what you need. It is all you need. And the job is not in my hands anymore.
Okay.
Understand?
Thank you, darling.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have so many questions. I'm going to try to make it one, okay?
Don't try.
I will make it one.
Thank you.
I'll sneak a few in, though.
We'll see how creative you are.
I've been lucid dreaming and astral projecting now for about 9 months.
All right, just enough time to have a baby.
I tell you, I feel like I'm having one. I really do. Everything's stripped away.
Yes.
I feel at a real transformational point in my life.
Oh, yes. Remember. Regarding the idea we discussed at the beginning of this session with animals, that when an aspect that you call an animal no longer belongs in your life, what you call a pet, and this animal goes on to another level, it is also representative in its own natural timing of transformations that have taken place within you, new levels that you are existing on.
Now, does that mean that I've had to detach myself from things physically that I felt a connection with in order to look at myself?
It is not so much that you must detach yourself from them, but that you can now realize that you can incorporate the bigger picture within yourself, that you have, in a sense, incorporated the energy within yourself, and that is why it no longer needs to be limited to the concept of physical reality, but now reaches all levels.
Well, you know, it
is more of a connection than a detachment.
Oh, okay.
Just because something leaves the physical and expands into non-physicality doesn't mean that that's a detachment and a loss.
Well, and it's funny because I should know this from projecting and from, delving into lucid dreams.
Yes.
I should know this by now.
And you do know it. Right now you know it.
Thank you. I do.
Yes.
Now, what's been happening in my lucid dreams is I seem to go from something that's very elevated in terms of energy that I'm feeling and the oneness and that sense of going home to some sort of... I seem to drop, like I remember this one experience that I had.
All right, one moment. You do not need to go into the details.
Okay, good.
The idea simply is, again, remember always, every time you take yourself up to read what needs to be read, the cycle is always to allow yourself to come back and apply that in physical reality. You're not losing anything.
Right. Well, no, I mean, even in the state itself, like I will do something like all of a sudden decide to have sex, and I find myself in a completely different dimension with some negative aspects.
Oh, not really negative.
Well,
you
some
might
that
be
are a
interpreting
little
them
scary
that way.
sometimes.
All right. But again, some of that is simply your interpretation based on the symbology that you have bought into.
My belief system, right?
Yes. Remember that the idea of shifting ideas like that from one to another involves a shift of dimensionality. Some dimensionalities, some experiences can only be experienced in certain kinds of dimensionalities. What you typically refer to as sexual energy, in the way you are used to experiencing it, can only be experienced when connected closely to the physical reality. There are types of exchanges one might refer to as sexual energy exchanges in etheric and astral realms, but you typically think of sexual exchange as a physical thing.
Right, so
Therefore,
I'm pulling all that stuff in.
Yes, and you connect yourself to that reality, and what comes up to you is the limitations that are necessary in... You rely on any kind of physiological symbol, you are creating one step removed from your consciousness, which has created that physical symbol anyway. So the idea is that any time you believe that you must have that symbol,
Not
You're
to
talking
say
about
that
the
is negative.
substance or
Yes.
something. Okay.
Yes. Not to say
No,
that
I don't
is
believe
negative.
I have to.
All right, all right.
But I like
anytime
it.
you talk, all right. But you must also ask yourself why.
Oh, of course.
All right.
Because I'm trying to alter my reality
All
in
right, but
any way
you can
I
alter
can.
your reality in many different ways. I will give you this suggestion, and I am not judging anything else. One of the strongest ways to create the alteration you are talking about, and this goes for all of you, is within what is typically referred to as centered, meditative, yogic breathing. Do you hear what is happening? What happens when the channel makes a connection to my consciousness?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. That automatic opening is what allows you to lock in to all dimensions within you. It's an alignment.
Mm-hmm.
That one device alone can replace any need for any other physiological substance or tool or symbol to connect you to other levels of yourself, other dimensions of experience.
Just breathing.
Just breathing. Because you see, once again, you already have built in everything you need to go anywhere you want.
I know, the dimensions are so close. They're right
The dimensions are you.
here.
Yes. You are the dimensions. And going from dimension to dimension is simply the realization that that dimension you are going to is you.
Here.
And you are that dimension. And as you know that, you're there because it's you.
Right.
Understand?
Well, it's incredibly exciting, and I sort of feel that I've crossed the line where now I can't really drink too much, do too many drugs, smoke too much, because I almost feel like I have to keep my channel somewhat cleaner than I used to.
As your vibration increases, you will simply require less and less reliance on any physiological substance at all. You will be more energy absorbed. You understand?
Yes.
Energy absorptive.
Absorptive. Well, thank you so much.
Well,
You're so wonderful.
Our love to you as well. At this timing, once again we extend to each and every one of you our unconditional love. We thank you for allowing us to experience the gift of your consciousness in its unique manifestation. It allows us to see that many more ways that the infinite can create itself to be, and thus expands our understanding of creation. We thank you for this opportunity. We are most excited to interact with you. Yes. 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 Yes.
Creator does not give us free will and then impose His own upon us. And I wondered why you used the term His.
Linguistics of your English language.
Okay, so you meant that, to be that way.
It will be received only in the dimension, only in the destination it is intended for with that pronoun.
Okay, I just
It is not meant as an inequalizer. It is directed to a certain belief system who will not hear any other word.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Thank you very much. Our unconditional love once again to you, and to all a fond and exciting and lucid dream life. Good day. Everything goes. Thank you.